Well, yet another problem with the New Bay Bridge, this time trouble with the foundation of the bridge's signature tower. Caltrans tests found bay water may be seeping in, and that means the critical anchor rods could be exposed to corrosive water. Now, this is an issue that raises some major questions about the long-term integrity of the structure. Caltrans is now trying to figure out if the water got inside during construction or if it's an ongoing leak.
This is the project from hell. This should not be happening for the price that we paid to get this bridge.
Well, our own Phil Matier has been all over these issues from the very beginning. Phil, what is it about this bridge that's the root of the problem?
Well, we're talking about a $1.3 billion bridge, a one-of-the-kind bridge in the whole world, and it's bringing with it one-of-a-kind headaches. Now, what we have here is problems or questions about the foundation and water getting in and affecting bolts. But get this, Ken, they picked bolts that if they get wet, they're subject to getting brittle and possibly snapping. And that's a one-of-a-kind problem because, as Steve Heminger said, you think they would have picked the bolts if it's going over water and going to be surrounded by water. They'd pick bolts that could take exposure to water, but they didn't. And so now we're having to test them all and keep an eye on them all today, tomorrow, and possibly for years to come.
Yeah, now these bolts, we should explain if people don't already know, they were picked, that design was picked because they're high tensile strength bolts. Those are stronger than regular steel bolts. Where does this thing go from now, from here, Phil?
Okay, first of all, they're going to have to do more testing on exactly what the water is and where it's coming in. And they're going to have to test those bolts down there as well. And Ken, that's not coming cheap. They've already spent, they're expecting about $400,000 for this latest round of tests alone. And as Heminger told me earlier today, this is the latest in a series of tests. As for fixing it, all we can refer to is the last bolt problem, which wound up costing about $25 million. So I've got to tell you, one-of-a-kind bridge, one-of-a-kind bolt, but a headache that nobody would want to have.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Phil, by calling it one of a kind. I keep thinking about the old bridge, though, held up by Douglas fir. I mean, wood sunk into the mud. I'll take this one any day. Sorry.
Absolutely. 1937, it's still standing, and there's no questions about the bolts.
All right. Phil Matier, thank you for that.